Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, talking fishing. If it's facts about fishing that you want to know, then tune in, folks, cause this is the show. We'll show you all the right bait to use, so sit right back, you got nothing to lose. Doesn't really matter if it's trout or carp, flathead, marlin or a gummy shark. Listen to the guys and you can't go wrong. They'll be talking about fishing till the cows come home. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Welcome everyone to Talking Fishing. Yes, we are back live from now until the end of December. No more repeats for the rest of the year. I know everyone's wrapped with that. Wow, another big week in fishing tonight. We look at some of the nice winter snapper and gummies caught last weekend in very calm conditions on both bays. We discuss the Barramundi growth rate in Hazelwood Pondage. The Port Phillip Bay conference is on this Friday night. Brook trout are going to be stocked into a Victorian lake. All that and more, so let's get into it with a big welcome to the man who travels by kayak. Welcome, Ads.
Thanks, Dave. Sorry about last week. I managed to pull a sickie on the first show back. How good's that?
Tell you what, you were as sick as a dog, and it takes a bit to keep you down.
It wasn't in a good way.
No, it takes a bit to keep you down, mate. But anyway, you're here tonight, back into it. And,
I'm here tonight, ready to go, and unfortunately the kayak's been pretty dry over the winter, so looking forward to a bit of warmth coming on.
It's been a long, cold winter for everybody, but last weekend was just a bit of a sniff of things to come, a bit of spring in the air. And it's going to be a great few months, I can tell you. And with Trelly still away in Africa on a hunting trip, we are joined by a very special guest tonight. Anthony Forster is the Manager Inland Fisheries with Fisheries Victoria. He's no stranger to the show. Welcome to Talking Fishing, Anthony.
Thanks, Dave. Great to be here.
Mate, there is so much to talk about. Inland fisheries are... in most of the state, absolutely booming, and I mean we won't even get to touch on the Murray cod and Eildon, the yellow belly fishing that's probably at its best in many, many years. I know there's trout, cod, things going on there, but it's an exciting time, and some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, and people probably relate Barramundi to saltwater in Northern Territory, but Anthony is the man who is running the whole Barramundi project in Hazelwood Pondage. We're going to have a really good update on all that, plus some of the stuff that's happening around the state, and I mean it's exciting times, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, that's for sure.
Yeah, there is a little pocket of Victoria that we will talk about later on called Tolondo, and it's suffering, but everywhere else you'd have to say water levels are coming up, quite nice, aren't they?
It's really encouraging the last few weeks for sure.
Lake Eildon, I'm a bit out of touch, boys, but that must be coming up with all the rain.
Absolutely, it's over 50% now.
Is it really?
And rising, yeah.
There you go, I haven't looked at that for a while.
Well,
and that was quite down after last summer, wasn't it? I mean, was it in the 20s, I think?
Got down as far as 20 odd, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. So we're looking at all those cod, and that cod fishery has been, even some of the boys' ads at work, I know Callan and old Don, I mean Don, he was out on Saturday. He came out with a special night on us on Saturday night, and 96 years of age.
So
he did pretty well to get out.
So he's dominating.
But he was up there. Probably the last time was 3 or 4 weeks ago. Still donging cod on the head. Like
terrific.
That is an amazing fishery, isn't it?
It is.
And
it'll get better too.
That's right. And there was cod caught last weekend too. I saw a couple of photos doing rounds on social media of some good fish, and opening it up through the winter has been nothing but a good thing because it's kept people casting lures. It's great.
That's right.
So, do cod go off the bite in winter? Like, does it get too cold?
Apparently,
you're the man.
The word is the big cod come on the bite in winter.
Really?
And that's the great opportunity. It's happening in other places, in New South Wales particularly.
Yep.
Very, very big cod have been caught in winter.
So as a reminder to everybody, the closed season for Murray cod starts on the 1st of September, and then it's back on the 1st of December, but in Lake Eildon there's going to be no closed season.
That's right. We ran a fisheries consultative process, and we've confirmed that all the fish in Lake Eildon are stocked, and there's no real reason not to let people fish through it.
Exciting times, I can tell you, particularly those Murray cod up at Lake Eildon, but everywhere in the state where the Murray cod are just thriving. Boys, it's time to have a look at what's being caught by the people at home. It's time for Catch of the Week.
Catch of the Week, brought to you by Shimano, providing reliable, trustworthy, quality fishing gear for your enjoyment.
Now, there's a man who runs a charter business out of Patterson River, and his name is Jason Turner. He runs Pro Red Fishing Charters, and he was in the shop the other day, and I said, Jason, you are well overdue for a winter snapper. So what did he do on Saturday morning? Just went out, and you can see daylight hours in that photo, a 7.89 kilo snapper, and he just loved it. It was all over social media. And he's the man. He always finds one, doesn't he?
He can smell snapper, this bloke. He just gets it done.
Yeah. And he's not the only one. I mean, there was some boats out on the weekend.
And so there should have been.
dusting the cobwebs off the boat, and just absolutely fantastic to see that. Peter Newgreen was another guy who headed out. He headed out on Western Port, and he found another lovely Western Port winter snapper, if you like, 7.2 kilos off Coronella.
Yeah, well, and the great thing is, I know we'd been running repeats throughout the course of winter, and a lot of people seeing snapper reports going, oh, it must be a repeat. Well, they were, but the snapper fishing was just as good as what we'd put up there anyway.
And
there's been so many fish caught throughout the winter period, especially in those shallow parts of Western Port. It's been great.
Boys, generally we see some bigger fish, and everyone's got their theories. The leaders come in first before the juniors and all that sort of stuff. But generally we do see some big fish caught probably between now and the next 6 weeks, if you like.
Definitely.
So rest of August, bit of September, before the footy finals, there'll be the odd fish and, perhaps some 9-10 kilo fish, that year class that's one above those 7 kilo fish.
Without a doubt.
And I mean, both those fish look quite coloured, as if they were fresh. They weren't dark fish.
Yeah, we could probably spend a whole show on trying to, explain
snapper.
all the theories on what's going on. But when they look that beautiful and fresh and new, you see those fish in winter and think, oh, it's good. There's a good feel about the season coming. If we're already seeing fish with that quality, it can only mean good things for the season ahead.
I went out on Sunday and headed out of Patterson River just to have a look around at some of the usual haunts, and I didn't sound one fish, boys. So anyway, that's me. Not a great snapper fishing. But anyway, let's head on to another species that's also very dominant in Western Port at the moment. And Jeremy Fay got out on Think Big Charters with Sean Ferdier, and a lovely gummy shark there in the western entrance. It doesn't get any better than that, does it?
Oh, that's perfect. Great size. This is a part of the fishery which has exploded in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
A lot of people are heading, this one in the western entrance, heading offshore and finding pockets of these big gummy sharks that are anywhere between 15 and 30 kilos. It's just adding that little bit of something else. Just when you think it's all completely done and there's nothing to do in the winter, something like this pops up.
Let's have a look at another gummy shark, and like you just said, offshore, Cozzy and Huff. Now, I've got no idea if that is Cozzy or Huff, but they just send in their pictures going, this is Cozzy and Huff here, and obviously Cozzy or Huff's on the camera, and Cozzy or Huff is holding the fish. And that one was, they went and got some fresh squid off Stony Point, and then it went 45 metres of water off Seal Rock, and just drifted and picked up a nice gummy there. And exactly what you just said, drifting offshore. There's good gummies out there as well.
And a lot more people are doing it. We've been scared of going offshore for quite a while now, and we're only really starting to tap into the quality of fish out there. It's good.
Anthony, you hang around some of the little estuaries and places around Melbourne, don't you? And
I do a little bit.
Flick for fish there. So have a look at this one, the Maribyrnong River, absolutely on fire for bream. John Regali. He got some nice models, and he got more than 2.
Out of the Nong.
Yeah. And
I like it.
I mean, it's got to be discoloured, doesn't it, with all the rain? Wouldn't have cleared up yet.
No, not yet.
But he's getting some nice bream there.
Oh, yeah, and winter bream too. They'll be schooled up in a nice little pocket somewhere, and if you can find them, the fishing can be pretty red hot in winter.
And they're often very hard to catch because they're in the structure. And, it's on or off.
So this time of year is bait best?
I'm not sure. We'd have to talk to the experts. I mean, lures. I
thought you were the expert.
Well,
I've heard some sneaky stories about you, Anthony.
I'm versatile.
Yeah. Anthony just catches them. Doesn't matter
how. Look, I don't. Whether it's lures. I mean, I know the boys have been smacking them in Patterson Lakes on the lures, but a bit of bait, and I'm not sure how John got those, but they were quite nice fish. So very good. And let's head down to Portland, because it wouldn't be a week in this time of year without a barrel tuna, and Brendan and Ben got it done, 121.4 kilos, and just in 28 metres of water. How good is that? I think that one took a while to get in too, so the boys sent that through to our mobile hotline, and it's pretty good fish.
That's a cracking fish.
Every week there's a barrel tuna. So and I think the weather's been against us this past week. There is so many good fish still to come out of Portland. I don't think we've seen them yet. So if you'd like to send in a pic of your catch of the week, this is what you have to do.
If you want to be like me and have your photo on TV, email your fishing pic to info@ifish.com.au.
And coming up on Talking Fishing, product of the week, and we have a good look at Barramundi and Hazelwood Pondage right after this.
Talking fishing.
know what you'd rather be doing.
We know what you've really got in mind.
We know you'd rather be out fishing. And today's the day you're gonna wet a line. 'Cause every day's a good day.
Stop wishing. Every day's a chance to drift away.
Drift away.
Every day's a good day for fishing. See you down at Tackle World today.
Product of the week, brought to you by Tackle World.
Talking fishing.
Welcome back to Talking Fishing, and I'm going to launch straight into Product of the Week because I've got one of the most exciting reels to hit the market in nearly 10 years that I've worked in the industry. The Stratic CO4 Plus has been a staple of, I guess, Victorian and Australian fishing for the last few years, and they've just released a brand new model with some exciting new features, which is very, very great because they've just gone and taken the lightest Shimano reel and made it even lighter. And there's a few little ways in which they've been able to achieve it. Now, the first is they've completely reworked the new bail arm system in this, and by doing that they've taken the bail trip, which normally sits on the side of the bail roller, and they've changed it to the opposite side. Now what that's been able to achieve is, normally to get a nice balance in that reel they have to put a counterweight on the opposite side, but now with that being taken up by the bail trip mechanism, it's completely changed the way the bail trip works, and it's also taken the weight out of the reel. So they've lowered this reel by 5 grams at a whole across the entire range.
Just when you thought the lightest reel in the Shimano stable couldn't get any lighter, it's the lightest ever produced.
That's right. Now I've got a little 1000 in my hand at the moment, and it's almost like holding nothing. You put that on a little brim reel or a little brim rod or a trout rod, and you can cast lures with this bad boy all day with no fatigue at all. So they make them in, I guess, all the sizes we're used to seeing. Like I said, I've got the 1000 here. We move up into the 2500. Same as what we've seen in all the 2500 size reels to date. Now, the new Stratic is still packing the Hagani gears. We've spoken about Hagani a lot on the show last season. It's still a massive, massive thing in the Shimano staple, and it just means these reels are going to last and they're going to feel exactly the way they do out of the box. They're going to feel like that forever.
So one of the things with Hagani, I'll just explain to people, and I think we've learnt more as we talk about is Hagani is the process in which it's I guess a name that describes the process of how they make the gearing and the bodies. But if you can imagine the main gear of a fishing reel, and there's a few different ways you can make that. The way they make these ones is through cold pressing. So there's no heating, there's no machining. It's virtually it's either 200 or 2,000 tonnes. I know there's a bit of difference, but it's one of them. And they virtually cold press the alloy into the shape, and it is absolutely 100% precision. If you want to feel the smoothest reel that you could ever reel in your hand, get into your tackle shop and ask to feel how smooth a Stratic CI4 FB is, because there's nothing like it, is there?
No, there's nothing like it. Now, in the 3000 size, you're looking at the same compact body size as a 2500. They give you the nice big T-handle to hold on to. So basically, you can fish the comfort of a 2500 with a little bit more line, on a little bit heavier line class, and still get the power and the line capacity to tackle all those big fish. Another sweet little feature going into these reels is called Core Protect. Now, it's something they've taken from, I guess, the Stella concept, and they've brought them down into these beautiful little reels. Basically, there's an oil repellent which sits in the main parts of the reel where salt water is going to get in the easiest and start to deteriorate the insides of your reel. So stuff like the roller clutch, the roller itself, the bail roller, they put Core Protect, this little oil in there, which just helps repel any water that wants to get in and start doing harm to that reel. So that's just another key little feature which probably won't get the airplay it deserves, but one of those things that helps keep that reel working exactly the way you take it out of the box. It helps maintain that throughout the course of the reel's life.
Can I be the stats man, a bit like at the footy? So how's this? So the first one you showed, before we move on to the 4000, the 1000, 3 kilos of drag, 5-to-1 gear ratio, so it's a nice light, perfect for brim. When you get into the 2.5 and the 3, 9 kilos of drag. They're a tough little
that's a
light
lot
reel.
for a little reel.
They weigh, the 2.5 and the 3, they both weigh 190 grams. That is light. Lightest 2.5, 3,000 on the market. And both have 6-to-1 gear ratio, so up a little bit. And then you get the big boy. Have a look at that one, and I'll tell you some specs on that in a minute.
So the 4000, again, it's been a staple of a Shimano reel for as long as I can remember. Everything from snapper to barramundi, which we're going to talk about a little bit further, casting off the beach. Another little key stat, I guess, and a way they've made these things which incorporates the Stala technology, they've moved the main shaft of the reel back towards the reel foot. It's actually offset. What that does is give the reel a much better centre of gravity as it pushes it towards the actual foot of the rod, maintaining that balance when you're winding. It doesn't want to roll and it doesn't want to wobble, and gives you the most beautiful fishing experience ever.
Just some stats on that one. Adds the 4,000, 11 kilos of drag. It's an XG, so they're starting to mark some of these high gear, extra gear and that sort of stuff. So it's an extra gear, 6.2-to-1. So that is a tough, light reel, the sort of thing that you could, fish snapper if you wanted to, particularly soft plastics and stuff like that. Exactly. Go all day. Big dusky flathead. Yes. If you're targeting those big 70, 80, 90 centimetre fish, right. Absolutely perfect.
And with 11 kilos of drag, you can target things like small kingfish, small tuna. It's one of the most versatile size reels in the Shimano staple.
There you go.
Have it.
Stratic CI4 Plus FB. Get into your tackle shop, have a feel of them, because you have to feel them to believe how good they are. All right, we're going to change the subject now. Barramundi in Hazelwood Pondage. If you haven't heard about it, you must have been on the moon, because it's something that is just taking Victorian recreational anglers by storm, and everyone's talking about it. It's probably one of the biggest subjects, Anthony, on social media, if you like, in the fishing industry. We're going to take a look back, just going to wind back the clock to April, have a look at what happened back in April 2016.
Morwell is not renowned for its beauty or hot weather, but locals say it will soon become a tropical sports hotspot. A warm weather pond is being stocked with the famous North Australian fighting fish, the barramundi, in an effort to draw anglers to the district. Nick McCallum reports from the unlikely home of a barra bonanza.
Morwell is a grey town in eastern Victoria. It's overshadowed by the Hazelwood power station, but now it wants to compete with the Northern Territory as a tropical sports fishing paradise. Today, 1,600 barramundi, 100 of them longer than 30 centimetres, were released at the Hazelwood power station pond near the town. The discharged cooling water from the station is so warm it's considered ideal for Northern Australia's famous fighting fish.
I think the northern states have enjoyed a monopoly on warm water fisheries, and we're going to put them under a bit of pressure, and we're making no apologies for that.
The idea to create a barra fishery so southern anglers will not have to spend thousands of dollars to head north. Locals are excited at the prospect of a tourism boom, maybe overexcited.
Millions of dollars into the economy of Morwell. People will travel from Tasmania, New South Wales, South Australia and all over Victoria with their boats in tow. They'll come to Morwell to catch a barramundi and they'll bring their tourism dollars with them. They won't be going to Northern Territory and Queensland anymore.
Already the pond boasts small tropical fish, ideal eating for barramundi.
If we've got metre-long barramundi in Victoria, you watch the fishermen show up.
The pond will be closed for fishing for the next 6 months to allow the new residents to acclimatise and hopefully to prosper. But locals are confident they'll have a barra bonanza starting this summer.
On the footsteps of Hazelwood Power Station lies the beautiful Hazelwood Pondage, soon to be home to 1,600 barramundi and later on 15,000 barramundi. Now you could think that I'm in a little creek up in the Northern Territory. You have a look at the structure just over my right shoulder, but here we are at Hazelwood Pondage. Look at that structure, look at this barramundi. Those two things are going to equal 1 metre barra in around about 2 years' time. I'll let this one go now. Beautiful. There's a caravan park, a sailing club, a great little island and plenty of structure for the barra to just thrive.
Barramundi.
The historic occasion has arrived. Here is a Hazelwood Barramundi. Now, if that doesn't get you excited, then the next image that we put up on the screen will, because those barramundi have grown a little bit. Anthony, now that's Brett Ingram, the scientist who's running the science side of the barramundi stocking in Hazelwood. When was that fish stocked?
So that was a 33 centimetre fish weighing about 500 grams that was put in back in September of last year.
Okay, so there was a little acclimatisation trial, wasn't there?
Bit, yeah.
And that was one of those fish?
I think we finished the acclimatisation trial. We released 18 of the bigger fish.
Yeah.
And
from memory, that's 76 centimetres and 6 kilos?
6.3, 6.4 kilos.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, now the next image we're going to show was a fish taken last week.
Yeah.
When was that one released?
We think it's the same year class. So
Okay.
we think it was from the same batch. We're
Yep.
not 100% sure.
Yep.
But we'll do more work on that. We'll take its otolith out and have a look at it.
Yep.
That one was about 5.3 kilos.
Wow.
But it's extremely deep, as you can see.
Yeah, so obviously that's eating. It's eating a lot of tilapia.
A lot of tilapia.
Yeah. Anthony, I guess the big question is, those 30 centimetre ones that you saw in the earlier footage, us putting them in. So, have you had a few of those samples out? The tagged ones? Have you had any of those tagged ones out?
I think so far, well, as of next Friday, we will have released 6,600 barramundi.
Yep. Wow.
5,000 of those are 30 centimetre fish, so they're ready to go.
Yep.
And then there's a sprinkling of other size fish. We've got some 10 centimetre and some 5 centimetre fish. All of those have been tagged, and we can track their performance over time.
Yep.
But the bigger fish you've seen are coming through from that last September stocking.
Wow. Now we've got a growth rate graph I think we're going to show now. That's comparing some of the big impoundments up in Queensland and places like Tinaroo and Awonga and stuff like that. So the red dots there is the Hazelwood fish, isn't it?
Now this is a work in progress, but this is a very satisfying graph for any Victorians, because up there you've got the iconic, internationally important Tinaroo barramundi fisheries, and you can see that the growth rates in Hazelwood are far better than most of those fisheries. So what's happened we've got a virgin biomass of tilapia and cichlids and bait fish, and these barramundi are just gorging themselves.
Do you think that'll slow down when the extra 5,000 is going in as we speak, or not tonight? But do you think that growth rate will slow down with more fish, or
it most certainly will.
Yeah.
We're seeing the good times now, and it'll preserve, I think, for another 4 or 5 months, and then we'll see a natural tapering off of the growth rates. But at that stage, the fish will be 60 to 70 centimetres, and there'll be some great fish to be caught.
Yep. There you go, barramundi and Hazelwood. I'm sorry, we just got to keep moving on. You could talk about that all night, all program. But up next, fisheries news, including where are brook trout going to be stocked, and we talk about the trout opening right after this on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
Good morning, spotters. Stephanie speaking.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Live from the studios of Channel 31 Melbourne, it's now time for some very fishy news.
Plenty of news this week, I tell you. It just keeps rolling on. If you think that nothing's happening fishing, think again, because and this one come out of the blue, Anthony. You might be able to shed some light on this one, but we'll get the media release up anyway. But brook trout are to be stocked in Victoria. That's exciting. A lot of people like fishing for these, and there is a sneaky little river that you can get them in.
I was one of the hundreds that jumped into the Rubicon when they escaped. So
I know, yeah. But brookies are good stuff, and let's kick it off. It says the brook trout is a species of freshwater fish in the salmon family, and although it is called a trout, it is actually a char. There you go, didn't know that. The fish are not expected to grow large. A kilo would be big, but what they lack in size, they make up for in appearance. They are native to eastern North America, in the United States and Canada, but have been introduced into other countries around the world. There you go. So you're obviously breeding brook trout, or someone is, Anthony?
Well, we're buying them from the private hatcheries, Dave.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, recreational fishers have been talking about brook trout for quite a while now, and of course, as Adam said, you know, the escaped fish from the hatchery in Ruby can really fire people's imagination. And we thought, well, if they're in the private sector in the hatchery, let's have a look at their performance in a lake. So, and this has been coming for a long while. A lot of the local recreational fishers have been asking for it. So we did the risk assessment. We put 3,000 in today.
There you go. Now, we haven't said where yet. The big question is where. Let's go back to the media release. Lake Barramundi supports a popular redfin fishery and is already stocked with Chinook salmon, brown trout and rainbow trout. If successful, the stocking will create a unique land-based brook trout fishery and thus adding to the range of fishing experiences available at Lake Barramundi. So they went in today.
They did.
And what size?
Well, they were yearling fish, probably about 70 or 80 grams.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're quite advanced fish.
Yeah. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Barramundi's got a fair growth rate?
Well, it has been a good fishery. I mean, it's been impacted by a really big population of redfin in recent times.
Yep.
But the brown trout are starting to come back, and it's got an abundance of food. So if they're going to perform anywhere, we think they'll go well there.
Yeah, there you go. Brookies.
On the menu.
I've been up there too to the Rubicon when they escape, and they're just a lovely looking fish.
Oh,
they're good eating.
Fish.
Yeah, they are.
I don't mind.
They're spectacular things. They really are.
Yeah, and just
Beautiful
adds to the
looking fish.
variety, doesn't it? So there you go, Anthony. You snuck that one. Just come out on a media release, and you've been keeping that one under your
I have
hat,
actually,
not telling
for quite a
anyone.
while.
So well done to fisheries. That's an excellent thing. Something that we talked about last week, and it is on this Friday night, is the Port Phillip Bay Conference coming up. This Friday night, as I said, Altona Theatre. It starts at 5:30 p.m, runs through till 9 p.m, and it's all about Port Phillip Bay. The Minister, Jarla Pulford, will open the event or the conference, and then Rex Hunt, yours truly, Dr. Corey Green will be talking about kingfish and calamari. Dr. Paul Hamer will be talking about reef restoration and snapper, and then Travis Dowling. And I think all of us join a panel at the very end and take questions from the audience. So it's a pretty big thing. To book your seat, please email improving.fishing@ECODEV, which is economic development, I guess, .vic.gov.au. It's up there. We'll put it on our social media tomorrow, although it was probably on last week as well. But get along to it. Port Phillip Bay Conference. Still a few seats left, I think. There you go. Okay, a couple of things. The trout opening opens the first weekend in September, Anthony.
Yes.
And you're going to hold two festivals this year. You've traditionally held that one up at at the township of Eildon, the Goulburn Fishing Festival. But let's have a look, a slide on this one. The Ballarat Fishing Festival is on that weekend.
So the plan here is under the Target 1 Million program, we're going to expand our fishing conferences and our trout fishing. So we've gone with the traditional Eildon fishery conference, if you like, and festival, and now we're moving to Ballarat. So we're duplicating it in many ways, but Ballarat's got something quite unique to offer, and it'll be based at Wendouree, and people will be able to walk down to the Ballarat Acclimatisation Society hatchery as well. Okay.
Okay. So now Saturday 3rd of September, 9 till 3 is on. Help stock live trout, hatchery tours, fishing tuition for kids, bait and tackle provided, talk with fishing experts about the basics of fishing for trout and redfin, cooking demonstrations and samples, children's activities. There's a jumping castle, face painting and a photo booth. You go there, Ads, and get your photo taken if you want. Prizes, draws and raffles, all that sort of thing. So get down onto the shores of Lake Wendouree. That's a fantastic thing. The next one, the Goulburn Fishing Festival 2016. There you go. It's a free event again. Come and celebrate the opening of trout season in rivers and the great freshwater fishing opportunities around Eildon. It's based at the Eildon Community Centre. There'll be free activities for the whole family, and it is again Saturday 3rd of September, which is the start of trout opening, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Now, Anthony, that one's been going for a few years now.
Yeah,
Would this be about its fourth?
Oh, I'm not sure. 4 or 5 perhaps.
Yeah.
And a big feature of this one is, of course, the Snows Creek hatchery becomes open to the public. And every year we get 300 or 400 people go through there. And I know you've been through there, Dave, yourself. Yeah. And the kids get a real buzz out of that, particularly feeding the big trout. It's very exciting for them.
It's worth it just for that. That hatchery is just phenomenal.
And I guess you'll be showcasing all the species.
Yes.
Will people be able to see the Murray cod ponds and things like that? Or?
They will. We've got most of our native fish in aquariums for display, so you can have a look at a bass, an estuary perch, a trout cod, a Murray cod. All there. Yeah.
I was up there not so long ago, and we were looking at the big breeders. The Murray cod are in this dam, or they're in a few dams, but the boys up there feed them whole skinned and gutted leather jacket. Right, so you're throwing out and you just see this bow wave coming. It's a bit like a scene out of Jaws, except it's a giant Murray cod just heading for this leather jacket. And a pretty remarkable place. So seriously, folks, at home, if you are not doing anything on that weekend, or particularly Saturday, the September 3rd, which is the opening of trout season, you can go and throw a line in the Goulburn River if you like. But also, get up there and have a look at the hatchery, have a look at all those sort of things. Get up there. It's a great festival and you'll really enjoy it. Now, don't forget, you can keep up to date with all the info from tonight on our Facebook page with Catch of the Week, hotspots and much more. Don't forget to like our page. If you know someone who you think would like to watch the show, tell them we now stream live on the internet, and you can also watch a repeat of our show each Thursday and Saturday mornings right here on C31. Just check the program guide for more details. And every episode is posted to our YouTube channel. You'll find the correct links to Facebook, YouTube and live streaming on our website, talkingfishing.com.au. So no excuses not to watch us. If you can't pick up C31, get on the iPad, watch it in front, at home, all that sort of stuff. So up next, Kramer's mailbag, and it's all about Tolondo. Up next on Talking Fishing.
Talking fishing.
Make mine a Mornington.
G'day, David Kramer here. I'm a massive fan of the Mazda BT50, having personally driven and owned one for more than 5 years now. And to tell you what, you can't beat them for an all-round great ute and a great tow vehicle. Get into Mornington Mazda before the end of the month and grab yourself a run-out bargain. Plus, with every BT50, you get all this $500 worth of fishing gear for free. I made mine a Mornington Mazda.
Make mine a Mornington Mazda.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
Anthony, just a little bit of advice before we start Kramer's mailbag. If you need to post letters, don't do it in that mailbox because it stinks. That salmon just stinks. So if you want, if you want to write to your enemies or something like that, post it in that one. But it's not a very good post box, that one. So, I just thought I'd dedicate Kramer's mailbag today to Tolondo because Jeff Stock's written a fairly passionate piece about Tolondo, and if you don't recall, Jeff Stock, we had him in the studio,
That's
I think
right.
probably in series 1 when we very first started. We had him here talking about Tolondo and the plight of Tolondo, and back then, when we did run a rally and we got some water put in there by the Andrews government when they were first, in fact I think it was their first commitment once they were elected into government. So, but I just want to read a bit of what Jeff's written because it's quite important, and I think people need to understand where Tolondo is sitting at right now, and we'll have a little discussion about it. This is from Jeff Stockers. He says it's now or never. There is no doubt that if Tolondo doesn't get an inflow in the next 4 to 8 weeks, it will be finished by Christmas or soon after. As these current images show, and he's put some images in with it, but we haven't got them, the lake has been reduced to the 3 original wetlands that the lake was formed from. The deepest of these, and someone just whispered in my ear that we might have an image of that, so they're good. I tell you what, the boys are good. Gee, they're good. We didn't have that planned. There you go. So it's been reduced to the 3 original ponds or wetlands the lake was formed from. The deepest of these is the main big water, and it's only about 4 foot deep. Wow. That really tells you how it is. The trout and redfin are still okay as the temperature is cold at the moment. However, they are very timid and flighty and hard to approach. The lake can still be saved, but there is only a very narrow window of opportunity left for this to happen. The only way Tolondo can be saved is for it to receive an inflow via the Rocklands Tolondo channel. The Andrews government burst onto the scene, he goes on to say, on the scene with a lot of seemingly genuine support and indeed provided a lifeline which has seen Tolondo last to this point. If not for that lifeline, it would now be Dust Bowl. And that's so true. I mean, that's, Anthony, what is it, 1.5 years ago?
Yeah, about 18 months.
Yeah, so it got, and I think we should point out the circumstances then that, you know, we had a previous government that said there's no water for Tolondo. There was a mining company that said, oh, there is some water if you want to buy it. And I think that really ruffled the feathers of the anglers, the people that love Tolondo, and all the supporters of recreational fishing. And that's where, you know, we rallied and said, well, hang on, if there is some water to buy, please, dear government, could you buy it, get it in? And that's what happened. Everything's not as good as what it was back then, is it? You know, Rocklands is down.
Look, we've had a little bit of rain recently, but the long-term trend's been really sad in that part of the world.
Jeff Stock goes on to write, the one shining light amongst all the government bodies has been fisheries. They've gone into bat totally for Tolondo and indeed the entire area. Travis, Anthony, Taylor and their team have given Tolondo their best shot, only to see the cause cut off at the knees by insane water management. The last time we embarked on a Save Tolondo campaign, we got a tremendous groundswell of support from everyone. Perhaps we need to do it all again, but this time we're in the last window of opportunity. The best chance is potentially in the next couple of months. If the current rain continues as forecast, then a percentage has to be diverted via the Rocklands Channel to give Tolondo a fighting chance. If this doesn't happen, come Christmas time, while we are watching thousands of trout, redfin and every other aquatic inhabitant of Tolondo in their death throes, it will be no good saying, why didn't we do something back then? And we appreciate the efforts that, you know, Jeff Stock and Trevor Holmes and the guys up there, the locals, do go to save Tolondo. The sad fact is that you know, they've suffered now years and years of poor rainfall, and you just wish there was maybe a pipeline from Lake's entrance to there, because I mean those guys have just had floods, you know, and record rainfalls and so forth. And boys, it's not a good situation, is it?
No, it's very sad. I know Jeff really well. I know Trevor, and these guys are absolutely passionate about their fishery. And we have put a lot of hard yards in on this fishery, Dave. We've got the 5,000 megalitres across initially. As the water was dropping and it split into those three basins, we sealed them off to reduce evaporation loss. We looked at the pumping option of pumping water,
2 into 1 or whatever.
2 into 1,
and the other 2 into 1,
and raising the levy. You know, that's still a possibility, but it's very wet. The contractors can't get in there at the moment. You know, we're even looking at long-term scenarios around expanding the pipeline, but that's a long way off. We looked at environmental water, we looked at the environmental values of Tolondo. You know, we have turned over a lot of stones looking for water, but unfortunately the drought's just overtaken us. And there's just not enough water in the system at the moment to support an allocation to Tolondo. Now that might change, let's hope, because it is raining at the moment. And I think we've got a few months left in the fishery. So, you know, we get a couple of big systems coming through and Rockland starts to fill and it might change. So I think that's our greatest hope, to be fair.
While it's cold, while it's still winter, those fish are just sitting there in 4 foot of water and quite okay. But I think there's going to be a point in time where some serious discussion needs to be. This is either going to fall over or there is a way of saving it. And I think those discussions, like you said, you know, they're probably a couple of months away still. So watch this space, please, on Tolondo. And I know it's not a very good situation, but please, we just need to get through the next couple of months, see how everything pans out. If you'd like to write to me or these blokes, this is what you have to do.
Send your mail to Kramer's Mailbag, PO Box 734, Patterson Lakes, Victoria 3197, or email kramer@ifish.com.au.
And a couple of events also. I mean, it's event city, isn't it?
Oh,
it's all happening in Melbourne.
Event season.
Oh, in Victoria. I mean, other states must be jealous of all the things going on in fishing in Victoria.
Well, we've got a very big program the next few months. The guys are really pushing.
Well, this is part of our program, Anthony, not yours. So, a big squid night. And Adam just whispered to me during the break, he said, I'm not sure there's any seats left because there's been a lot of phone calls. But have a look at this. We've got the biggest squid night of all coming up tomorrow night. It is, like I said, tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. You actually need to get there at 6:30 p.m. for pizzas. It's down at Mornington Mazda, and you pay $10 to get in. You get pizza and drinks for that, and that is soft drinks. Dr. Corey Green will be there. He's the squid scientist, and he is going to give you so much detail about squid. He's been acoustically tagging and monitoring these fish in the bay. He's going to tell us why there's been an influx of cuttlefish into the bay. The fishing panel, myself, Adam, Callan's got the flick and Mark Keaveney's on. There's going to be cleaning demonstrations, massive squid gear sale, lucky door prizes, the whole lot. Now, if you want to book your seat, and I reckon there's probably 10 left, or I'll order another 10 seats tomorrow, call the numbers on your screen, 5996 6500 or 5975 7500. That is Tackwell, Kramer or Mornington. Book your seat, 10 left tomorrow, and it is going to be a massive night. Squid Talk tomorrow night. Be there or be square. The other one coming up only 10, 11 days away is the Melbourne 4x4 Fishing and Boating Expo, and it's on 19th to the 21st of August. It's at the Melbourne Showgrounds. Opening times are Friday 9 till 6, Saturday 9 till 6, Sunday 9 till 5. If you want to get some cheap tickets, it's the only way to get cheap tickets. Get onto 4x4show.com.au, put in the code IFISH, and you can get yourself some $15 tickets, or you can come into Tackwell Crammon and buy them over the counter if you want. So, but that's a big show. Anthony, Fisheries Victoria, got a big stand there. We're actually getting Travis Dowling, the head of fisheries, on the stage for a Q&A session with the audience, and he's going to talk about all the things. So I don't know if I quite explained that to Travis, that he was going to do that, but anyway, he's going to be on the stage, and we're doing it. We're just live here now. So if you want to talk to Travis one-on-one in front of a crowd, go and see him at the Melbourne 4x4 show. Not this weekend, but next it's going to be a big show. Coming up, this week's Hotspots, and we discuss a couple of fishing conferences. Yep, that's more that you must put on your calendar. Next on Talking Fishing.
Talking Fishing.
G'day, Callan here from Paul Worsland's Tackwell Crammon.
Supercharged batteries have been supplying maintenance-free marine batteries since 2001. The Seamaster Gold range is second to none, delivering superior starting power and reserve capacity. No need to top up with water, truly a fit and forget battery. With up to 2 years replacement warranty, you know you have quality. Your battery is your lifeline. Without it, you're dead in the water because it's bloody hard to push start.
I've got a Seamaster battery in my boat.
Make yours a Seamaster Gold today.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing.
And now the segment you've all been waiting for, Fishing Hotspots. Get on them, it's where the fish are.
Yep, hotspots, I'll tell you what, they are hot, and you need to go to these places during the winter because there is some magnificent fishing. People, they don't realise it. I went for a scoot out in the boat on Sunday just to get the cobwebs off, and just late. I didn't get down there to the marina until about 3 o'clock in the arvo, and just went out for a burst, and it was glass, it was beautiful. There's fish out there to be had. Just need to get out there and do it. So let's kick it off. If you're after a gummy shark in Port Phillip Bay, the only place to go this weekend would be the Rye Channel, and some nice gummies there. Yep. Get in the big tidal flows there. Don't be afraid to fish heavy and in strong current, but Rye Channel would be the place to get a gummy.
Yeah, that's right. And there's plenty of schools of salmon you'll come across on the way.
Yeah.
Plenty of calamari around, so there's fresh bait, at your doorstep. Get them on the way out, anchor up near that channel, right on the edge there, and you'll be surprised.
Absolutely. Now, if you're after a snapper, like we showed earlier on in Catch of the Week, there's some good winter snapper, but they're few and far between. But if you want to have a bit of hot biting on the snapper, get into Beaumaris Bay because there's some beautiful pinkies there.
Yep.
Well, when I say pinkies, up to 2 kilo.
Yep.
You can get them on soft plastics and vibes even if you want.
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
But a bit of fun. A lot of guys getting out there in the kayaks.
It's a great place for the kayaks.
Yeah.
Great
you can
place
sort of
for
just
the
paddle out through the marine park and
it might be my Sunday sorted.
Just on the edge. So anyway, I think the wind's a bit northerly too. And one of the places, Bowie Bay, you can actually sneak out of that northerly. I know it's going to blow a little bit in the next week and probably not settle to about Tuesday, I think. But it's one of those places you can sneak around Bowie Bay on that sort of southern side and escape the northerly. So plenty of good fish there around that mussel farm as well. Heading over to Western Port, and the capital of Western Port for King George whiting, and not too many people talking about King George whiting, is the middle spit, the top end. Right now there's some beautiful whiting there.
Yeah, I know a few of the charter boats still poke around this time of year. Sean Ferdy, I know he gets up there and has a poke around when he's not catching big gummy sharks. So again, you need to work a little bit harder in the winter for the whiting, but the size is generally up a little bit.
I had the inside word from a man called Kojak. during the week.
And if Kojak
says that the whiting are going on the top of the middle spit, they're going
it's
on.
on. It's on.
And he said some very, very nice models too coming in through Yoringa. So,
good work, Kojak.
So that's the place to go. Now, if you're after a gummy shark in Western Port, there's no place to be than the western entrance, and you'll probably see Sean Ferdier propped up there.
Yeah, so give him a wave.
Again, not a bad place if there's a northerly. You can get in close and get a little bit protected there if it's not too strong. But some beautiful gummies at the moment.
And
It's a great time of year for gummies.
That's right.
So get down there. You're going to need some calm weather to do what the next hotspot is, and people are talking about it now. It's yet to be, a big one brought in, I think. But if you head off Cape Shank, there has got to be some big southern bluefin tuna right along our coastline now. The barrels were at Portland quite some time ago. They're still there now, but many people are talking about either going out through the heads at Port Phillip Bay or out the western entrance and heading around that Cape Shank. You don't need to fish in deep water, but I tell you what, a live squid.
I was going to say, it's got to. I'm so glad you said live.
Get a live squid and just drop it down there, because you are every chance of getting a big southern bluefin tuna just out the western entrance or around that Cape Shank area.
I'm so glad you said live bait. No one talks about it for these big fish, and they will just gobble.
And that's what you
up.
need to do. Yeah. So the next one I just thrown up here, boys, because and this is one of many places you can go fishing, but Casey Fields, all these little trout, all these little what are they called? Suburban lakes, if you like. Family-friendly lakes. Yeah. There you go, Anthony. Great places to fish, and they've all been stocked with rainbow trout. They're all stocked back in June, July, so they've got lots of trout. They will all be stocked again for the September school holiday, so that's going to roll out over the next few weeks, and they're just great little places to take the kids.
It is, and Casey Fields is such a beautiful facility, massive big playground if the kids get over the fishing. The fishing's great because it gets stocked pretty well before the school holidays. Just a beautiful place.
Great program, Anthony. When you think back,
it is
that some of these lakes were just bodies of water that had maybe some carp in them.
It's very popular. I mean, at last count there was 74 family-friendly waters throughout Victoria. Yeah.
Wow.
And the kids love them. It's terrific.
That's good.
And they're virtually they would be all stocked for June, July school holidays, all stocked for September school holidays.
And to date it's been mainly rainbows, but we've got a plan to stock some silver perch up north.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. There you go. How good's that?
That's another media release down the track.
There you go. You have got. Just when you think they can't get anything better, something better comes out. That's pretty good. So head down to Casey Fields. A bit of power bait under a bubble float. I'm told Casey Fields is chock-a-block with water with all this rain, so it's great to fish when all those reeds are under the water too.
They'll be up in the reeds, those fish too.
There you go. So they're the hot spots, and it will blow a little bit this weekend. So Casey Fields, top spot. Let's have a look at a couple of things for later on in the year, Anthony. This event was the first, and I think that's the first one we're going to show, is the Talk Wild Trout 2016 conference. It is on Saturday the 5th of November from 9:30 till 4:30. It's at the Mansfield Performing Arts Centre, which is 15 View Street. Registration, get on to mansfieldmountbuller.com.au/TWT, which stands for Talk Wild Trout, to reserve your free seat. Now, last year that was almost a sellout, wasn't it?
It was fantastic.
Yeah. And the information was second to none. If you want to know about how all those main rivers up in that sort of Eildon district are performing, you guys are actually doing lots of good science and telling people where the fish are.
Well, we are. I mean, it's part of an RFL-funded project. It's about a $900,000 project over 3 years. It's looking at trying to understand why the trout fishery fell away in some of these northeast waters in the summer of 2013-14. And we're starting to look at water temperature and shading, and we're also looking at the abundance of trout in rivers and whether that's changing or not, and what we can do to fix it. But we need some good information first, and it all came together in the conference last year. I had 180, 190 people come. This year I think it'll sell out even more quickly.
So that's the Saturday after the Melbourne Cup weekend for those that want to whack that in the calendar, because it is a brilliant thing. Now, something new along similar lines is the 2016 Murray Codference. I like that, a conference.
Like it.
So it's on Sunday the 11th of December from 9 a.m. to 3:30, and it's in Trelly country. It's at East Bank Conference Centre. 70, and I'm struggling to see the screen. I've probably got it in front of me. Wellsford Street, Shepparton, they say in my ear. The old eyes are playing up a little bit today. Registration, improving.fishing@ecodev.vic.gov.au, or you can call that number on your screen, which is 83926876. We'll put that up on social media tomorrow, but reserve your seat. Registering helps us plan seating and catering, which will include lunch and refreshments. Hope Charlie doesn't supply the refreshments, but
that'll be a big conference.
That's not just about. It's not just about science either. That one's, a lot of it is about catching big cod. Yeah. It's also about better handling practices. We've got some science on that as well. Rod McKenzie's coming along.
Okay.
Rod Harrison's coming along.
Yeah. You got some gurus.
Dr. Paul Hardy-Smith's coming to talk about the vet perspective and handling big Murray cod. We're going to talk about stocking and how that's working and habitat. It'll be a bee's knees of people that have really made a difference over the last 20 years in Murray cod. Yeah. Be a fantastic event.
Put them all in your calendar, please, because they are important things. And if you just love your fishing, go and have a look at our Facebook page. You'll get all the dates, all the details. Anthony, can I thank you once again for coming along? Because you're always a wealth of knowledge when you come on the show. It's absolutely fantastic to have you along. And, it just provides an opportunity for you guys to communicate to all the people at home, all the people watching the show, and from the horse's mouth.
I appreciate it, Dave, and there's a lot going on. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. That's it for Talking Fishing. We hope you enjoyed the show. A big thank you, like I said, to Anthony Forster once again for filling in for Trelly. Trelly is back next week, and I'm sure he'll have a tale or two to tell. It looks like we are stuck with windy conditions over the next week, but plenty of land-based options if you're keen to wet a line. And if you do, make sure you send us your pics. Until we see you again on Talking Fishing next Tuesday, please stay safe on the water and enjoy your fishing.
Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. We got all you need, just take a look. Watch those fish jump on your hook. So just relax and take your time. Enjoy the show, then drop us a line. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing, nothing but fishing, we're talking fishing. Talking fishing.
Have a good weekend, Mr. Walker.
You too, son.